Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez. Another week of discussion on our daily talk show, Barnstable This Morning, is in the books. And today we're taking a look back on some of the most interesting comments from the week that was. Recently, town officials learned of a proposal that could bring a 100-plus room Marriott hotel to the harbor area of downtown Hyannis. Formal planning board hearings on the project are scheduled to begin in March. But on Monday, February 14th, Town Manager John Klim was excited to share with us what he knew about the proposal.
Yes, there is a proposal by the Cohen family, which we're very familiar with, and who have done great work down at the Hyannis Harbor with the Hyannis Harbor Motel. They are interested and will be appearing before the planning board with a proposal to build a hotel of a little over 100 units or suites down on Ocean Street. And this is a very exciting development, not only because in these tough economic times we've been told by others that people are unwilling to invest in a new hotel or motel down in the downtown area. Now, this is the second one that we've had. The first proposal was a year ago, and unfortunately the party that was interested in building a hotel right downtown was not able to convince the property owner to sell, and so that never bore fruit. But this is the second proposal. And once again, as I said before, we're talking about the worst economic time that any of us have seen in our lifetime, and we have people that really care about the community, like the Cohen family, that are willing to take the risk, work with us on a really exciting proposal.
As we discussed an exciting prospect for local businesses, the manager of one business, Ying's Sushi Bar and Lounge in Hyannis, was before the licensing authority to answer to a series of violations, the worst of which being a lack of supervision that led to a shooting outside the restaurant. The licensing authority's punishment was severe, a 30-day liquor license suspension and an immediate rollback of Ying's entertainment license. On Tuesday, February 15th, Barnstable Police Chief Paul McDonald shared with us his reaction to that decision.
I am satisfied with that. You know, my only concern, I don't want the police department to be perceived as being anti-business, because we're not. I mean, we want everybody to thrive. We're making a huge investment in Main Street by bringing a substation back there. But there are certain things that we cannot tolerate. And the biggest thing with gangs, it's not the excessive noise, it's not the band, not the type of music they play, is that when a crime occurred, she was encouraging her employees not to cooperate with the police department.
Oh, really?
To me, that's unforgivable. You know, you can't do that. She is a licensee from the town of Barnstable, and she's telling her employees not to cooperate with the police department and not to talk to police officers when we just had a major crime outside their establishment. Now, this is a complete opposite of Puffer Bellies. Now, we had problems at Puffer Bellies. We used to have a meeting with the employees and the management team prior to the night's event so we could plan out what we're going to do. And they would tell us if they need some help, if they need additional police officers, they would actually pay for them. So there's a plan in place, and we got nothing but cooperation from Puffer Bellies, their employment, and their management staff. And then you have Ying's, where completely just the opposite.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question, which was, what's the disparity between the 1-week suspension that we saw with Puffer Bellies and now the 30-day suspension plus the rollback of the entertainment license? And that obviously is a key factor.
Well, Puffer Bellies got suspended because there was a shooting there. Okay, their entertainment license got suspended. Their license didn't get suspended. Their entertainment license got suspended for a week. That was the difference. This is far more severe because of the lack of cooperation with the police. I mean, a licensee who gets a license from the town of Barnstable is not cooperating with the Barnstable Police Department. That's unthinkable. I mean, that's just that's totally unacceptable.
During last November's elections, you may have received a large number of mailings endorsing our now state senator, Dan Wolf. Most of those mailings, however, weren't funded by Wolf's campaign. They were paid for by outside groups, and they were sent without permission. The barrage of mail was made possible by a controversial Supreme Court decision that opened up the floodgates for special interest money to be poured into campaigns in far greater amounts than previously allowed. Wolf, a corporate CEO himself, opposes that decision and wants to see it overturned. He talked to us about it on Tuesday.
That is that corporations, and I know what I'm speaking of because I am a corporation guy.
Exactly.
Albeit a small business. The mandate of corporations, the legal mandate, and the fiduciary responsibility that they have to their shareholders is to maximize shareholder value and to maximize profit. That's why they exist. There's nothing there about long-term vision. There's nothing there about short-term expense for long-term payback, investment in things like education, investment in things like long-term good and sound environmental policy, like investing in our infrastructure, so that what a corporation is looking at when it selects a candidate to endorse is set on a criteria coming from the context of what we do is enhance shareholder value. That's not necessarily consistent with the type of people we want to elect into politics. And in fact, a lot of times we want to elect people into politics who will check and balance the power of corporations. So that if you have corporations having undue influence in who gets elected, we're going to be electing people who are thinking in the best interest of the corporations that help them get elected.
You and a coalition of state legislators have sponsored a resolution asking Congress to amend the Constitution to specifically put a stop to this type of practice, unregulated spending on campaigns, and First Amendment protections for corporations. It seems clear to me why you've put your name on that resolution, but talk to me a little bit about how this idea was hatched and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, I think, first of all, the public needs to be aware of exactly what dynamic has been created by that Supreme Court ruling. That resolution, which we are hopefully going to pass and send to Washington, is a heads up saying, look, this isn't a sustainable situation. This is going to make things in the long run really, really bad. So that, what we're first trying to do is raise awareness. And we're also seriously looking for enough states to get on board, so perhaps there is ultimately a constitutional convention that addresses this, because I think the check and balance is important.
A study released in the latest edition of the Journal of the American Medical Association could spell good news for people with breast cancer. The study shows that a less radical form of surgery used to treat early-stage breast cancer is not only effective, but produces fewer post-surgical side effects. On Wednesday, February 16th, Dr. Robin Sachs, a breast surgeon at Cape Cod Hospital, filled us in on the study's findings.
What we know about the study is that the majority of women with breast cancer, now at the time of diagnosis, actually don't have any lymph node involvement at their initial diagnosis. So instead of going and doing a completion axillary dissection, we came up with a technique of just checking the first draining lymph nodes in the axilla, or what we call the sentinel node. And this most recent study has suggested that in women who have little disease, even if they have a sentinel node that has breast cancer or has metastatic cancer in it, it may not be necessary to do a completion axillary dissection, thus saving them from the possibility of a lymphedema. And what the study showed was that there was no difference in survival or recurrence, local recurrence, in those women that had an axillary dissection and those women that don't. We are trying to do less surgery for women who have even metastatic breast cancer.
I want to just back up for a second and define exactly what axillary dissection is for folks who don't know.
Instead of taking one or two lymph nodes out of underneath the arm or in the axilla, an axillary dissection will be removing the majority of lymph nodes underneath the arm, usually anywhere from 10 to 20 lymph nodes. And that does put a woman at risk of arm swelling, nerve injury, loss of function of the arm.
So then this new way of going about things, for some women anyway, isn't so much about being able to stop cancer more effectively, it's about improving quality of life after surgery is over, yes?
That's all that we are looking at, is really improving, reducing mortality from our surgery or morbidity from our surgery without changing the mortality or the recurrence or overall survival. So we are looking at improving quality of life in the future. Women who have lymphedema, certainly it's a lifelong problem. We are very sensitive to that.
If you'd like to see any of these complete interviews, full-length episodes of BTM are available to watch online. You can find them in the town's video archives at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, that's all for now. Everybody have a great long weekend. I'm Nick Cortez, and we'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.